Yo, what is going on, my fellow wrestling fans across the world? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of Champions, where we dive headfirst into all the personalities, storylines, controversies, and everything in between that center around this world we know and love as professional wrestling, for better or worse. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka Kurt GPT, the moral conscience of America, in the flesh as always, and conspicuous by his absence is my tag team partner and podcast co-host, Jonathan Randall. Unfortunately, Jonathan Randall's mother passed away this past Monday, and he's going to be needing some time for the next few weeks to obviously grieve, take care of personal family issues, among many other things. And I just want to say to John, whenever you do hear this, that I'm thinking about you. I'm really sorry for your loss. I really feel for you, your family, your brothers, your dad, obviously. I remember going to your house when we first started recording this show back in 2019. When we were recording your room, I would always see your mom sitting on the couch. I know she wasn't in the best of health these last few years and whatnot, but at the end of the day, she's still your mom. And regardless of what the situation is, losing anybody, especially a parent, is heartbreaking. And I just want to say that my heart's breaking for you right now. I'm really feeling for you. I really hope and pray that you get through this tough time along with your family. And if you ever need anything, if you ever need to talk, vent, or even cry, I'm just a phone call away. But in any event, guys, I will be taking over the show for the next few weeks doing solo duties because it is WrestleMania season. It is the busiest time of the year, so we got to get it popping. But one person who is likely going to be missing WrestleMania this year is Bron Breakker, as it just came out this week that he suffered an injured hernia that he had to have surgery for, and as a result of that, he's going to be out of action indefinitely. And this is a damn shame because he was seemingly the person that was going to win the Royal Rumble up until a few weeks ago. John and I both predicted it on the show when we did our prediction show. And now, 2 weeks later, the dude's not even going to be on WrestleMania, period. That whole angle they did with him at the Royal Rumble was a little strange. I'm not going to lie, with him being such a favorite and then him just getting attacked by the dude in the black hoodie and just getting eliminated within a few seconds. Yeah, it was definitely the complete opposite of what we predicted for him going into the Royal Rumble match. And it was kind of looking like it was going to be him against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, with Seth Rollins more than likely being the person under the hoodie. But now with Bron Breakker's injury, we do not know what's going to happen going forward with that. But from the looks of things, it does not look like he's going to be at WrestleMania or be back in time for it. And it's unfortunate. It's a damn shame because he was having such a great year. He was building a lot of momentum, especially towards the end of 2025. And for him to just miss WrestleMania altogether, it sucks. It really does. But unfortunately, that's the reality of the wrestling business. Injuries happen at the worst possible times. And unfortunately, it happened at the worst possible time for Bron Breakker. So WrestleMania season will unfortunately have to go on without him. And hopefully he gets back on his feet sooner or later and can start whooping ass the way he does best. But in any event, let's get into the highlights from this past Monday on Raw. Raw opened with CM Punk walking backstage as the show was beginning. And then the person he ends up meeting backstage is none other than his wife, AJ Lee. AJ Lee made her first appearance on Raw this week since the November 24th episode, right before the Survivor Series. And as they're walking, you can see Becky Lynch in the background looking pissed, losing her damn mind, like really ready to go the fuck off. But she kept her patience and decided to go to the ring instead. And as she was in the ring cutting a promo, she was eventually, to no surprise, interrupted by AJ Lee. And then AJ Lee was like asking Becky like what she ever did to her, other than beating her at WrestlePalooza and then costing her the Women's Intercontinental title and also beating her at War Games. So obviously Becky's getting really heated as AJ's bringing all this up. So she challenges her to a match, challenges her to a fight in her hometown of Chicago at Elimination Chamber. And AJ's down for this, but only if Becky puts her precious Women's Intercontinental title on the line. And obviously, Becky wasn't having it because, in her words, AJ does not deserve a title shot because she's barely ever around and she's never really, done anything to earn one, according to her. So AJ was like, you know what? The hell with it. Okay, never mind then. No title shot, no match. So that as she's trying to walk away, Becky's trying to stop her, saying, wait a minute. And she's struggling with the decision. She's pacing back and forth. But ultimately, to no surprise, she decides to grant AJ's request for a title match at Elimination Chamber. But the money line in this promo, I have to say, was when Becky said, if you thought you were held down by the man 10 years ago before you left, you have no idea what you're up against now. Welcome to the big time. So yes, it is official. We are getting Becky Lynch and AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental title at Elimination Chamber in 2.5 weeks in Chicago, AJ's hometown. Well, hometown now, anyway. And I have to say, I am looking forward to this match, but I'm a little surprised that we're getting it this soon. I figured we were getting it for sure at WrestleMania, and we possibly might still get it at WrestleMania, but it's a little weird that they're doing it this soon. However, I will say, considering that it's going to be in Chicago, and Chicago is where this feud first started when AJ made her return back in September and confronted Becky, it is a fitting place for it. So I am looking forward to it. It does make this Elimination Chamber card look a lot more interesting, which we'll get into throughout the show. And also other highlights on Raw included Liv Morgan and her Boo Thang Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio in the ring cutting a promo all over each other, all that good stuff. And so they were ultimately interrupted by Pyro, looking like Kane was making a comeback. But no, it was not Kane. It was Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer with her horrible, garbage-ass new Def Rebel music that WWE now forces her to come out in with every week. So yeah, she came out to confront Liv Morgan and talked about how she hopes Liv picks her so that she could kick her ass at WrestleMania. And Liv's being obnoxious, being a pain in the ass like she does best, talking about how she would offer Stephanie Vaquer to wear the Hot Girls Love Dominic Mysterio shirt, but unfortunately, she doesn't qualify for it. So that was a funny line, I will admit. And then as Vaquer was trying to leave the ring, Liv Morgan, of all things, referred to the Women's World Champion as a puta. And I gotta say, in all the years I've been watching wrestling, WWE specifically, I have never once in my life heard that word dropped on WWE TV. But I guess there was a first time for everything. So obviously Vaquer was pissed off. She was going off in Spanish, could not understand the damn thing she said. But I'm sure it was some fiery ass shit because I can definitely get the vibe of it. And Dominic tries to get it, Stephanie Vaquer, and get her in her face, but then Vaquer slaps him, and then she just leaves the ring. This was the ultimate example of we just need to kill time until WrestleMania. Because when you really think about it, WrestleMania is still 10 weeks away. WrestleMania is not going to be until April 18th, April 19th, and we're not even in the middle of February yet. So they have a lot of time to kill between now and then, and this week was just like a wasted week in a sense. This was just basically filler, to say the very least. And on top of that, there was no focus on the issues between Liv and Raquel Rodriguez from last week after Raquel specifically told Liv to stay in the back and not interfere in a match. But what did Liv do? She interfered anyway. And obviously, Raquel did not win the championship, and she should be upset because Liv did not listen to her. But for whatever reason, they did not capitalize on that. They did not explore that at all. They better explore it more in the next few weeks, because if they just ignore it, then that's another fumble on their creative side, which there's been, unfortunately, a lot of over the past year. But I still think they have time. I still think they will get back to it at some point, and it'll get spicier as the weeks go on. But speaking of Judgment Day, they were in the backstage Judgment Day hangout spot, and then Dominic Mysterio was kind of talking to Finn Balor, asking why he was, looking the way he was and, having the demeanor that he did. And Finn is just obsessed with winning the World Heavyweight Championship and getting another crack at CM Punk. And Dominic was kind of hating on him a little bit, telling him how he doesn't have what it takes to be champion, how he already lost to Punk. He's not really on that level. And Finn, rightfully so, wasn't having it, to the point where he walked away and said he was going to prove them all wrong. So yeah, I definitely see the seeds planted for this eventual breakup between these two, and they've been teasing for the last damn year. But I honestly have faith that it is finally going to happen now. But until then, Finn is focused on CM Punk. And as Michael Cole was in the ring about to interview Punk later in the show, Finn came out, grabbed the microphone from Michael Cole, and demanded a rematch with CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. And that brought out Adam Pearce with a bunch of security, saying that this wasn't going to happen. Finn already had his title shot, and he didn't win, and he's not going to get another one because the main event at WrestleMania is set. And yeah, this was a whole big thing. And then Punk eventually comes out, and Punk and Finn Balor are trying to get at each other, but the security's keeping them apart. Punk is in the ring, and then Finn Balor standing on the announce table. And Adam Pearce is still saying, no, the match isn't going to happen. The match is not going down. And Punk basically said, yo, I'm the world champion. I deserve a say in this also. And I want him in a rematch. And Adam Pearce eventually agreed, but he did not want to do it there and then in Cleveland. He decided to make the match official for Elimination Chamber in Punk's hometown of Chicago, which makes perfect sense. We all saw this coming, and I'm glad it is coming because this has been a good feud for Punk to occupy his time over the last few weeks because obviously WrestleMania is still weeks away. And as great as that segment was between Roman and Punk last week, we're likely not going to see Roman again for the next probably 3 weeks or so. So in the meantime, this gives Punk something interesting to do, something interesting to sink his teeth into, and it'll make for a great spectacle when this match does happen in his hometown of Chicago. So yeah, this is a great segment. This is probably the highlight of the whole show, to be honest with you. And yeah, this is very spicy stuff that the show's been lacking over the last, I would say, few months. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be great. Their last match in Ireland a few weeks ago was also dope. So that match was in Finn's home turf. And now this coming match is going to be in Punk's home turf. So yeah, I definitely see this being must-see TV over the next few weeks. And ultimately, what's going to result from this is Finn Balor turning babyface and finally leaving the Judgment Day behind. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And we had qualifying matches for the Elimination Chamber also on Raw. So far for the women, we've had Tiffany Stratton qualify last Friday on SmackDown, as well as Randy Orton. And this past Monday on Raw, we did have a triple threat match between Rhea Ripley, Lyra Valkyria, and Ivy Nile. That was ultimately won by Rhea Ripley, who hit the Riptide on Lyra for the win. So, to no surprise, Rhea Ripley qualified. When you saw that Rhea was in that match out of all three of the women, you already knew what the outcome was going to be. But is what it is. Match was fine, except for this one spot in the match where Rhea had Lyra on top of her shoulders as Ivy now was going to do a bulldog to Lyra, but then Lyra fell down before she could hit the move. Yeah, it didn't go right, but whatever. These things happen. It's the wrestling business. Accidents happen. There's no reason to crucify them for it, is what it is. And ultimately, Rhea Ripley won, predictably so. And in the main event, we did have a triple threat match between LA Knight, the superstar, the megastar, along with Penta and Austin Theory. And as the match is progressing, the members of the Vision, the douchebag fuck Logan Paul and Bronson Reed, interfered in the match when they were specifically told by Adam Pearce not to. So they get involved, but LA Knight's eventually able to fight them off for a little bit up until Bronson Reed knocks him down and then hits him with a tsunami as the referee's not looking. And it looks like Austin Theory's going to win with the curb stomp on the night, but as he's about to get the pin, Penta pulls Austin Theory out of the ring to, I kid you not, the biggest pop of the entire night. Yeah, because nobody was trying to see Austin Theory win that match. No freaking way. So Penta saved the day there, but Penta got taken out with a backdrop onto the announce table by Theory. And then once again, the mystery dude in the black hoodie showed up, attacked Austin Theory, laid his ass out with a curb stomp, threw him back into the ring, and that led to LA Knight picking up the win and qualifying for the Elimination Chamber. That's what I like to see. So we have Orton and we have LA Knight in the men's chamber so far. And this coming Friday on SmackDown, we do have a big, huge, gigantic qualifying match. It's going to pit Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, and Sami Zayn. And I got to say, these are three guys you would think would automatically be in the chamber match along with everybody else. But it's a weird one to predict with these three, especially considering that Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu have issues with Drew McIntyre right now. Yeah, it's kind of weird that only one of them is going to get into the chamber match, but we'll see how it plays out. And I will say, out of all the qualifying matches so far, that one is the one that's the least predictable, which is what I like the most about it. And I will be honest, I don't watch SmackDown from start to finish that often. Don't watch live that often because Friday nights are usually busy for me. But that match, I am definitely going out of my way to see. So yeah, the Elimination Chamber card's looking pretty good right now. So far, we have CM Punk and Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. We also have Becky Lynch and AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And we have both men's and both women's Elimination Chamber matches to decide who will get the shot at the other championships at WrestleMania. And if last year's Elimination Chamber show is any indication, then this year's is going to be fire, son. Be fire. And they would have to really try, they really go out of their way to make that show not be good. But despite the online criticism we usually see about WWE's product, especially the last year or so, I still have faith in them, and I have faith that that will be a good show. Because, like I said, they would have to really try to fumble that one. But also, speaking of WrestleMania, there have been some changes to the WrestleMania card, according to reports backstage and whatnot. It's been reported that the original plan for WrestleMania before Seth Rollins got hurt was Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns, and also Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Championship against CM Punk. And I have to be honest, both of those matches look incredible. That would have been a great double main event for WrestleMania. But unfortunately, Seth Rollins had his injury back in October, so that threw things all over the place, and got to change plans when things like that happen. So then it changes from CM Punk to Bron Breakker, and it was definitely looking that way towards the end of last year, going into that first Raw of the new year. And then we also heard the story of it being Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes again. And then apparently things got changed when Drew McIntyre won the WWE Championship from Cody Rhodes last month. That kind of threw things up in the air too. So now instead of Bron Breakker being in that mix, he basically got replaced with Drew McIntyre. And look, it sucks that Bron Breakker got kind of pushed to the side. But in hindsight now, it kind of might have worked out for the best considering Breakker's injury. But still, regardless, it kind of sucks that he got replaced that way. But if he had to get replaced by anybody, Drew McIntyre was more than deserving of getting a title run and a championship main event match at WrestleMania. And apparently the changes to the WrestleMania card and whatnot are frustrating people backstage, and they're getting kind of irritated with it because it keeps changing nonstop. And like WrestleMania is 2 months away and there's still no set direction for where everything's going to go and what's going to happen. And it's kind of giving off Vince McMahon vibes, like in the last few years that he was in charge, where everything was always in a flux. The scripts be getting ripped up for Raw, like right before the show was about to start. And like the week out before WrestleMania, the plans weren't even fully set for WrestleMania 35, I believe it was. So yeah, it's kind of reeking of that a little bit, apparently. And I have to say, that original card before Seth Rollins got hurt looked incredible. The one after he got hurt did not look as good. But at least Punk and Roman looks great. Out of any of the matches they have this year so far that we kind of see it going in the direction of, that by far is the match that I have no complaints about. And honestly, nobody else should either. That's a big marquee match, one that we have not seen before, and one that's personal with a lot of stakes, a lot of history. So yeah, there's nothing you can really complain about with what we're getting with that match at WrestleMania. And it's the first time this version of the World Heavyweight Championship is going to get top billing at WrestleMania over the WWE Championship. And that has not happened to the WWE Championship, where it's pushed to the side in favor of another title being defended in the main event since WrestleMania 24 back in 2008. So yeah, it's definitely nice to see that World Heavyweight title get elevated to a new level. Thanks recently to CM Punk, who's had a great title reign so far ever since he won it back. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it defended in the main event on that level in that match. It's going to be lit, to say the very least. So yeah, WrestleMania is still 2.5 months away. We got Roman and CM Punk official. We're going to likely get McIntyre, Cody, and Jacob Fatu in a three-way or some variation of that. I don't want them to do McIntyre against Cody in a singles match again. Because after they did that 3 Stages of Hell match on SmackDown last month, that was kind of the blow off to their singles feud. So the only way they could do this match again to make it interesting is to add Jacob Fatu or possibly Randy Orton into the mix. But another one-on-one match between those two, that is not popping. I'm not going to say any differently. I mean that when I say that. It might be a good match, but it's just not popping and not interesting the way a WrestleMania main event should be at this point. And then obviously Liv Morgan's going to choose either Stephanie Vaquer or Jade Cargill as the women's show challenge at WrestleMania, but we all pretty much know which champion she's going to choose. And Raquel Rodriguez will probably still be involved also in one way or another, so that's pretty much a lock for WrestleMania. And Jade Cargill, I'm hoping and praying that Bianca Belair comes back in time for WrestleMania, the challenger for the championship, because that would definitely be a marquee match of epic proportions. I feel like that's the biggest match they could do on that side of the women's bracket for WrestleMania. But if it doesn't happen, if I had to pick an opponent for Jade at WrestleMania, I would say it's either Jordynne Grace or Charlotte Flair. But considering that we're getting Jordynne Grace and Jade for the women's title on SmackDown this Friday, who knows? Anything is possible. We'll see how it all goes. Yeah, we got months away till WrestleMania, but I think it has the potential to be good and potentially be a lot better than last year's was, especially the build. And speaking of WrestleMania coming up in Vegas, it's been also reported that WWE is blocking any restaurant and any bar within a 50-mile radius of Las Vegas from broadcasting WrestleMania during WrestleMania weekend. Mainly so that they can get the ticket sales up and get people to buy tickets as opposed to go to a bar or restaurant to watch it. And I gotta say, this is some real grimy ass nonsense on TKO's part. Because it's one thing when you're charging people an arm and a leg for tickets, and then when they find like another solution to that, when they don't want to pay that kind of money, you take that away from them too. And on top of that, it serves them right for this. On top of that, it's been reported that the ticket sales for WrestleMania this year compared to last year are down and disappointing compared to what they were projecting. And you know what? I don't feel sorry for them at all, considering the amount of money they charge for these damn tickets these days, combined with the fact that they promised WrestleMania this year initially to New Orleans and then went back on it just to give it back to Vegas for a second year. They deserve it. They deserve to have disappointing ticket sales and low ticket sales and whatnot. They brought this on themselves. And not to mention how hot and cold the product has been over the last year since WrestleMania last year. So yeah, that's what they get for, being a bunch of greedy assholes. And yeah, it came back to bite them in the ass. I mean, I'm sure people will still pack out Allegiant Stadium once WrestleMania weekend comes around. I'm sure it'll still be popping in that sense. But sooner or later, WWE is going to have to learn a hard lesson about their business practices, their greedy behavior, how they're screwing over their loyal fans. Eventually, things like that come back to haunt you. And it looks like it's slowly coming back to haunt WWE. And if they don't want it to continue, they better switch their ways, because if they don't, then it's only going to get worse and worse from here. And I mean that shit. And I'm sure many of you caught the Super Bowl this past Sunday, well, specifically the halftime show with Bad Bunny, because let's face it, that game wasn't much of a game at all. But yes, I mainly went to watch the Super Bowl at a friend's house this past Sunday to watch the Bad Bunny halftime show. And I have to say, that shit was dope. It was different, unlike any other Super Bowl halftime show I've ever seen in my life. But different does not mean bad. And that's a lesson that a lot of people out there need to learn and need to understand, because just because a specific music genre or a specific artist is not your cup of tea or not what you listen to regularly, that doesn't mean that you should automatically label it as bad and not give it a chance before you eventually write it off. And spew your racist rhetoric that the Super Bowl shouldn't be in Spanish and that it's offensive, it's not American, it's fake America, and that Bad Bunny's a disgrace to America because he hates ICE, like Jake Paul's dumbass posted the other day. Yeah, I just don't understand why people like that go out of the way to just be so damn miserable. Of all the problems in the world, of all the fucked up shit that happens in the world, you're going to spend your time throwing a fit and throwing a tantrum about the artist they pick to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show? The hell is wrong with you damn people? Ridiculous. Getting into these damn paragraph long monologues like DJ Vlad about how it's not a good idea, it sucks, it's un-American, etc., etc. Yo, shut the fuck up, go outside and have some fun. Do something with your life as opposed to arguing about this dumbass bullshit. And people thought that Kid Rock was going to have a chance against Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. Please, 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 son. Kid Rock hasn't been relevant since 2000, when I was in the damn 7th grade. Yeah, these damn people, these damn haters, these damn closed-minded, one-dimensional ass people. Yeah, it's a disgrace. It's sad. It's pathetic. And these people would have so much more fun, enjoy themselves a lot more, and would have had a damn good time watching that halftime show if they didn't have their heads so far up their damn asses. And they weren't so damn close minded. But unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And with that aside, I will say it was a great halftime show. Just the representation of Latin culture and the representation of Bad Bunny and like the culmination of everything he's done over these last few years to get to where he is now, and just all the cameos he had, like Ricky Martin, Lady Gaga, which was a huge surprise. They had even Cardi B in the background, Jessica Alba, etc. Yeah, like how can you get mad at a show like that with some good ass music, some pretty ass girls, great vibe? Yeah, if you're getting mad at something like that, there is really something wrong with you. I mean it. Which is why I didn't get mad at it because yeah, I had a blast watching that show. I honestly wish I could have been at that party. Would have been lit as hell. But is what it is. So yeah, great halftime show. They usually are great. I enjoyed Kendrick's last year. I enjoyed Usher's the year before, Rihanna's the year before. But yeah, I think people just need to stop complaining so damn much about these Super Bowl halftime shows. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. There's a million and one better things to argue about and focus your time on than that negative bullshit. So please do yourself a favor and cut it out. Please cut it out. And tell that to the damn president, Donald Trump, too, because he went off about the Bad Bunny halftime show also on online afterwards, talking about how it sucked. He didn't understand it. Of course he didn't because he's a dumbass. And yeah, just going on his own little dumbass rants like he always does. And that's why I'm so grateful that Jesse the Body Ventura, the former governor of Minnesota, former WWE superstar and commentator, called out that douchebag fuck who's the president and went on to say that it's a disgrace that Trump is even in the WWE Hall of Fame. To the point where he even said that he hopes they remove him from the Hall of Fame so that he doesn't have to be associated with Trump. And damn, that says a lot because Jesse Ventura definitely deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And Donald Trump, I will admit, he was a part of many classic moments in wrestling over the years, so I get that. But if they're going to remove certain other people from the Hall of Fame, like Hulk Hogan, when the whole racist rant came out all those years ago, you can definitely remove somebody like Donald Trump, who's done far worse and who has done far less for wrestling over the years. Yeah, because I've said it before, there's millions and millions of people that should be in the Hall of Fame that aren't in the Hall of Fame. Demolition being one example, Miss Elizabeth being another example, China and a solo wing being another example. But yet we put these asshole celebrities like Donald Trump in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I don't blame Jesse Ventura for going off about that because Jesse Ventura actually gave his heart and soul to wrestling, to politics when he became governor of Minnesota. He was also an incredible commentator. That was one of the things I appreciated most about the WWE product during that era was his commentary. And yeah, if there's anyone who deserves to call out that douchebag of a president and his presence in our WWE Hall of Fame, it is definitely Jesse Ventura. So shout out to him for that. All right, well, guys, I think that's going to sum up everything we have to talk about today. Follow us on our social media pages, our Facebook, our Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Like, subscribe, leave comments. Let us know what you think. We would love to talk to you guys about these topics on the show in a healthy way, keyword healthy way. So, yeah, holler at us. And until next time, for Jon Randall, this is Konscious Kurt with another edition of Clash of Champions. Take care. Enjoy your Valentine's Day weekend. Be good to your significant other. Do good things for them behind closed doors and in front of other people. And remember, most of all, don't be an asshole and a douchebag in real life or social media because that toxic bullshit is for the birds. And if you do, I'm going to write a rap diss about you. And you don't want those kind of problems. Rest in peace, Mrs. Randall. Have a good one, guys.